Max, more papers for you.
Okay, I'll get these done as soon as I can.
Yeah.
There seems to be a client out in the hallway for you.
Lars Miller. And you are?
Cynthia Mayfield. I was hoping you could help me.
What seems to be the problem, miss?
It's my husband. He's gone missing and I don't know where to find him. Please help me.
When did you last see him?
Yesterday morning. He usually works late, but he's always there when I wake up.
Have you called the office?
I did this morning. They haven't seen him since he left last night.
So you spend most nights alone?
How is that relevant?
Just answer the question, Mrs. Mayfield. Just trying to get the facts.
Well, for your information, yes, it does get lonely.
Doesn't sound like he makes enough time for you.
He's a busy man. He loves me. We love each other.
Well, if you'll excuse me, I need to talk to my secretary.
Another disappearance?
Yes. She seems to have a grudge against him.
Did you notice her lack of a wedding ring?
Of course I did.
Would you see that as a point of interest?
Absolutely. A distressed woman reporting her husband's disappearance while not wearing her wedding ring?
Seems like an obvious lead.
It does. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to inform a woman I'll take on her case. One that will conclude with her own arrest.
Your case intrigues me. I've decided to take it on. For a price.
Oh, thank you so much. You'll never know how much this means to me.
I'll show you to the door. Despite my suspicions about her, Maggie, she seems to have a case similar to the others. Maybe she's just a wife trying to get her husband's insurance money. Still, I got a strange feeling about this.
You do? Maybe that means that this case is linked to all the other missing people. That would mean that people would be at risk of abduction.
We need to find out.
Mr. Miller, is there something wrong?
Sure is. There's money missing. I checked the safe this morning. $500 gone. You don't let anyone into my office that I don't know about, do you?
Of course not. So if you checked your safe this morning, who would have been in since you last checked?
The anxious man seeking the insurance policy.
Too timid.
The shy brunette girl who came in my office on Thursday.
Too harmless.
The blonde man, he seems suspicious.
Too incompetent.
Who else then? The man. William, the one with the messy suit.
That's a tricky one.
Oh, it sure is.
But don't you worry about it. We'll get to the bottom of it. In the meantime, have you got any developments on the missing person case?
Missing persons case?
You know, the one with the missing husband.
Cynthia Mayfield!
Cynthia Mayfield?
The woman with the missing husband!
I mean, a missing husband does seem a fairly clever excuse to get into the office of a PI.
Not clever enough for me, though.
Of course not.
She seems the likely suspect.
True. I mean, a missing wedding ring, there's got to be a case behind that. Are you sure you didn't misplace it or anything, though?
Of course I'm sure. I know what I'm doing, Maggie. Mrs. Mayfield must have made her way into my office. When?
How could she have gotten into your safe?
Come to think of it, I did leave her alone in my office when I went to talk to you.
That would have given her the perfect amount of time to get into your safe and steal the money. Seems like case closed to me.
I spent endless days and restless nights investigating her. What were her motives? She seemed like a well-off lady, so what was she doing committing crimes that would label her as a thief? I felt myself losing grip of all things I once viewed as important to a whirlwind of deceit and greed enveloping me, sending me off to my own mind, not to be disturbed by anyone. The pile of cases resting on my desk slowly grew taller and eventually I found myself disregarding the case that Cynthia Mayfield originally visited me about. I figured, what was the point on working on a well-paid case if one brazen hussy could steal the money away from me so easy? I wanted her and everyone else to know that I wasn't going to be messed with. No pretty-faced woman could ever get away with this.
Excuse me? Oh. He is? At what time? So his wife, Mrs. Mayfield, wasn't lying. She'd be devastated. Thanks for letting me know. Yes. All right. Farewell.
Why didn't you save him? What the hell were you doing instead of solving the case?
Mrs. Mayfield!
I'm not with her because you can't do your job right.
Ma'am, I can explain.
I should have known not to trust you the moment your secretary warned me how dangerous this area is. Too dangerous to even wear my fine jewelry. Is this what you do? Take advantage of distressed women and let them down? You failed me.
Cynthia, Fine jewelry. The ring. Maggie? Maggie, I need to talk.
Lars? What are you doing at this time?
We need to talk. Nice coat. You going somewhere?
Well,
Look, I've questioned every possible answer of this situation, and whether I've just overthought what is in all actuality a simple misunderstanding. But the facts are indisputable, and situations such as this arise do not reflect a just and moral belief system.
I didn't mean to.
I've been internally digesting and justifying your apparent lack of awareness from Mrs. Mayfield's case, and now the widowed woman arrived in my office in a distressed and panicked state, and mentioned your phone call with her prior to our meeting. My faith in you caused me to initially dismiss Mrs. Mayfield's comments, simply a distressed, panicked woman stating a misunderstanding. Though my analysis of the recent events caused me to produce a pattern. My initial suspicion of Mrs. Mayfield arose by her lack of wedding ring when I first met her, though Mrs. Mayfield just told me of your conversation with her, suggesting she not wear her wedding ring when meeting me. Why would you tell her that? I asked myself. The only possible explanation is that you were trying to direct me to view Cynthia as the guilty suspect, while you committed the crime I'm fooled into believing that she had committed!
Can you really blame a woman for finally acting as though she has her own thoughts and motives after so long spent in the dark? What did you think? That I was just going to remain as your little assistant for the rest of my life?
You're my secretary, not my
Don't
assistant.
interrupt me. You do that enough. Don't you want to hear of how I fooled the man who thought I could never be fooled? Don't you want to know why? All the days and all the nights you disregarded me, assigning me tasks you expected me to complete without a trace of respect. Your acknowledgement of my work in the office was seldom given, and I ached with the knowledge that I would never be given the recognition I deserved for dealing with the turmoil inflicted upon me. You thought of me as less than human. I was the dirt under your feet. It all led to an inevitable rebellion. So one day I snapped. I couldn't handle spending one more day knowing you overpower me in every situation I face. I set a trap for you to fall into, like an incompetent mouse thirsting for the cheese that finally snaps you in half. I made sure everything went to plan. So when I received a phone call from Mrs. Mayfield not long before she arrived at the office, I took it as a sign and began my plot. Prior to that, it was simply conspiring on my part. Your doings narrowing me towards finally taking the first step to the destruction of your mind. I gained Mrs. Mayfield's trust by telling her of how fine jewelry would place a target on her back for thieves, planting suspicion within you about her lack of a wedding ring, only to acknowledge it and direct your investigation towards her. It's a shame it led to her husband's death, but I had to ensure you mistrusted her while I continued stealing from you, as you spiraled out of control at the mere thought of that distressed woman stealing from you what is rightfully yours. Though, of course, the money was a main motivation. I thirsted for the wealth and fortune you had, though ridding you of your credibility and reputation was simply a bonus.
Maggie!
First of all, Lars, that's Margot to you. Second of all, don't try to escape what you've trapped yourself within. You caused this outcome. Your blatant disrespect followed by the priorities you set for yourself once you noticed the loss of money as a notable issue. You were driven by greed. Greed for money, greed for justice, greed for revenge. Your craving for fortune led to the death of a man at the hands of your intolerance and disregard. Now that you've seen the consequences, do you see what selfishness does to the soul? What greed does to those around you? This is what justice is to those of us you harmed.
Well, that's all very fine and well, Margot, but you're not getting away with this.
Even if I end up in jail, you're the one who'll always be trapped. You'll always be imprisoned within your own pride and your own inability to see beyond yourself. God, how are you going to maintain your ego without your credibility? Or without me to clean up your mess?